Welcome back to the Hotel Orloff, episode 751. Once again, I am your host, Senator Orloff. We're continuing unboxing an historic comic book shipment here to the Hotel Orloff. All holy grails for all comic book collectors. And what a beautiful day it is here, Friday evening. I did a broadcast earlier. This is the second part. You need to go back and watch episode 750. This is a continuation of that. And since last episode, I went, got my wife some food, and we were, you know, they were cooking out hot dogs and hamburgers on the town square, and I got some delicious hot dogs. But I noticed they were having a rummage sale at a museum, and I got some cool stuff. And then some of the coolest stuff I got was in boxes in front, just marked free, take it. So I'll show you some stuff I just got. Look at this thing here. This is I think I just saw an ad from the 1960s for a whole line of toy guns, different guns of different historic time periods. It's like actually, but anyway, I think that's what this is. I need to find that ad. I just watched it like 2 days ago, and this was in a box marked free in front. Yeah, I don't. Look at that. Give you a sense of scale. Well, here's a Garbage Pail Kids cup. Give you a sense of scale. Anyway, I think they're worth more than just being free. So, you know, I'll take any junk. If you want to send me junk, mail me junk. Don't throw anything away. Mail it here. I will be your garbage disposal. I'm your trash can man. I'm your garbage man. In the words of Lux Interior. Yes, here in the Hotel Orloff, the guests enjoy the fact that it's also a veritable museum of American pop culture, and part of that is just taking in all trash. Okay, now we're going to be looking at some comic books. Speaking of trash, there's many people consider comic books to be trash. So here's a wonderful Silver Age comic, Captain Savage and his Leatherneck Raiders. All these books I got in trade for my amazing television program, The Tomb of Terror, which I am putting out on DVD, and you can buy copies of it from me. You can ask about it down below, and we have 21 episodes now in our first season. I already have a copy of this, but this could very well be an upgrade, because this, look at the shine on this, man. The gloss, I should say. It's like a brand new comic, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. He'll make you a master of karate, this guy. Well, this was an attempt to, for Marvel to have a new Sergeant Fury and Assaulting Commandos, and, you know, it was a good comic, it just never took off. And, see, they're fighting against Hydra, so they bring in the superhero elements to it, and tie it into the Marvel universe, because Ben Grimm appears, you know, Ben Grimm, who later becomes the Thing in the early 1960s, was a pilot in World War II. At least that's the way it was in the original comics. Look at this psychedelic light show ad. You can have one in your own home, it says. A psychedelic light show in your home. I'm sure your parents will enjoy that. Anyway, this is the third issue of Captain Savage and his Leatherneck Raiders. So how are you guys doing on this wonderful Friday evening? Okay. I figured this fairground carnival Oregon music will be acceptable to the YouTube AI bots that police background music. All right, let's see what we got here. We're going to be looking at a lot of comic books this evening, as many as I can, until the memory on the phone runs out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is issue 6 of the same comic we just talked about. It's Captain Savage and his Leatherneck Raiders. From, what did you say, about 1968? I'm going to guess April 68. I like to do this guessing game. It is September 68. I'm off by a few months. Oh, look at that. Look at that ad, man. There is nothing like, you know, I was, they say, you know, you can only go without oxygen for 4 minutes, and you can go without water for 4 days, and you can go without food for 4 weeks before, you know, you pass away. I mean, you won't, it's not pleasant, but that's how long the human body will last on average. But a couple of years ago, I said to myself, every 4 weeks you should get at least one Silver Age comic book into your collection. Silver Age is from about 1957 in my world to about 1970-71. To me, the Silver Age ended when comics went to 20 cents. That's not what the average member of the comic book community says, but I'm not a member of any community. Community sounds too much like communism. I'm a member of a comic book neighborhood. You might consider it a community. I don't know, that word sounds too communistic to me. I don't like communism, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, well, look at this. It's got a stamp of Gotham City Comics on the back. This is, oh, this one is in particularly good shape. Yes, this is, yeah, you need to, yeah, he was telling me, he showed me this book on, we were on a chat, you know, you chat on the phone, you know, and it's all Lego-y looking and blocky. But yeah, he was telling me how the condition of this book, and and it's not a sought-after book to the average idiot. I mean, it is to me because I love this, but the people that collect key issues aren't going to be after Captain Savage at all. There's nothing key about it to those morons. Seriously, I was watching a show the other day, and no offense, but this comic collector with a lot more subscriptions than I'll ever have was being asked by one of his viewers, do you collect Legion of Superhero comics? And he says, no, I've never collected that. And they asked him about Mike Grell art. And he says, I've never heard of Mike Grell. I looked it up, and I really do like his art, but during that time, I was only buying Lady and the Tramp comics or something. Legion of Superheroes is one of the greatest things ever. The 60s Legion of Superheroes, the heroes of the 25th century that Superboy used to fly into the future to hang out with, and then the 70s when they got all flamboyantly disco-y looking. It was so wonderful. That comic is great. He says, oh, I do have one, and it was like something from the 80s. But I like the cover, but I never read it. It's like, oh, man. Legion is... you got to get into Legion of Superheroes. You're not going to be cool, you know. You're not going to be cool, man. You got to be cool. Look at this battle scene. I don't know, man. I just... yes, I have a big collection of Showcase, and then he shows... He has 4 copies of Showcase. They're the major ones with the first Flash and everything, and but it's like... Key issues, if you're only buying the key issues but you reject all the ones that aren't key issues, then you don't really love it. You're just after key issues like some hunter that it's just I'm not into. It's not about hunting. It's not about just looking for key issues, and I love all. I mean, it's like. There were great issues before and after the Galactus trilogy, but you only want the... Anyway, enough of a rant. Okay, there's a new Rocketeer comic from last Wednesday. Now, Dave Stevens passed away, unfortunately, one of the great artists of all time. Oh, speaking of great artists, one of my favorite artists of all time is Richard Corbin. And on the last episode, I had it on, and I was walking through the room, and I hear myself rambling on saying James Corbin, because I had just been talking about James Warren, and then I said James Corbin. I swear I said that. So I was so embarrassed, I wrote in the little comments under episode 450, I said, I know better. That's one of my favorite artists. There's something wrong with me. Lack of sleep or something. Yeah, okay, so they brought this comic back. Question is anyone ever going to be able to match Dave Stevens' art? Well, probably not, unless they get someone like Steve Rude. I don't know, his art's okay. It doesn't really look like Betty Page. It looks more like Zoe, what's her name, Zoe Deschanel. I really like her music. My wife doesn't. The group She and Him, I really like it. I like it. But then when Biden was running for president, she was like hosting some little show raising money for Joe Biden. It's like, oh boy. Yeah, the art's pretty good, but it's not Dave Stevens for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's acceptable. This artist doesn't capture. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now, is this guy... This guy's not really capturing Betty Page so much. A little bit. Dave Stevens could really get it to look like Betty Page. But anyway, it's okay. It's all right. Isn't that what the cheerleaders used to say when someone messed up on the court? It's okay, it's all right. Isn't that what they said? I don't know. Okay, well, in the world of Charlton comics, Charlton horror. I don't know if we're going to get through all these comics in this episode either, unless I go really quick. This is... This cover is great. A tribute to Wally Wood. They even have the Mars Attacks aliens there. Notice the body on the slab has feet on both sides. This feels, this is a lot slicker than most Charlton's. I remember Charlton comics not really feeling slick. But this one feels slick. I'm kind of surprised by that. Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. Charlton Comics. Yes, indeed. So I'm trying to sort all this, and I gotta get these books read and then into their proper places. Here are reprints of Frontline Combat, which was the EC War comic. There was Frontline Combat, and there were 2 war comics. Frontline Combat and, oh man, what was the other one? There were 2 that Harvey Kurtzman was the guy behind the work. Kurtzman did both covers. Harvey Kurtzman was the genius behind Mad and the war comics, and he researched the war comics and made them absolutely accurate. So that isn't Kurtzman art there, but trust me, Kurtzman penciled it, and this guy is working over Kurtzman's design. So, Frontline Combat. Now, first, this looks like the first issue of Peacemaker, but it's actually a parody where they, you know, like they redub. We used to redub VHS tapes. I used to have a VCR that would allow you to redub and actually do multiple tracks. And we would record Sesame Street and stuff off television, and then go back in and change the voices to ours. And those were the days in the mid-1980s. That was a lot of fun in college. Anyway, that's what they're doing here. It's this sham comics, see? And I guess they're doing a graphic novel of all their stuff. So I even have a parody of what looks like a Charlton ad. Anyway, they change all the dialogue, ladies and gentlemen. And they create amusing ads. Like G.I. Joe becomes Private Jarhead. Yeah, I like this kind of parody. It reminds me of the old National Lampoon. So, first, I didn't think I'd like this idea of redubbing, changing all the dialogue, but enough people told me that it's okay, so I said, all right. I mean, as long as you can get the original Peacemaker and read it the right way. It's like, I remember in the 80s, yeah, it would have been the 80s, I think there was a comedy channel started. I think it's now called Comedy Central. Anyway, there were these, there was a Mamie Van Doren movie I'd always wanted to see, and I saw it was listed in the TV Guide. I tuned in, and there's people talking over the whole movie, like making fun of it, like you're in a movie theater next to some moron that's making fun of the movie that you're trying to hear. And I guess it was funny and everything. It turned out to be Mystery Science Theater, and which I grew to appreciate. But the thing is, in the 80s, there was no way to get that Mamie Van Doren movie. It was, except, you know, trading with someone in Finland or somewhere, or some mart, you know, someone that lives in Dothan, Alabama, where they ran that movie at 3 o'clock in the morning and someone recorded it in 6 hours. It looks terrible, like you're watching a movie through a screen door. And then they have a wonderful print of it, but they're talking over it. Now, they released all those Mystery Science Theater shows on DVD, and on one side of the disc you could watch the movie without the talking over it. The other side you get it with the comedy stylings over the movie, and that was okay because you could get the movie in the original way. But when there's no other way to see the movie except to see it being talked over, to me that's kind of putting graffiti on the Mona Lisa. Not that a Mamie Van Doren movie is the Mona Lisa, but well, I don't know, maybe it is. Okay. This is not in the best shape, but it's a 20-cent GI Combat. I got these books for equivalent of $1, but it was actually trade. So, the idea of the haunted tank always appealed to me, and it was a comic that my older brothers read in the 60s, and so anytime I can get a GI, this is GI Combat number 169. Scheiße. So how are you guys doing today? Doing great? Of course you are. Here's 193. See the UPC code, that when that came along during the 30-cent era, and around 77, I think, so when they started putting these things on comics. To me, it spoils the look of the comic. Here's 197, another Haunted Tank issue. Whoa, what was that? Okay, here's Sergeant Rock 357. Sergeant Rock was the original Sergeant. Then there was Sergeant Rock. Then there was Sergeant Fury from Marvel. This is just a great cover, 340. Just the way he's bursting through. Oh, he's bursting through a book, How to Win a War by Lieutenant Philip Allen Woods III. And this is a really classic cover. He's whipping all these Germans in the face with an ammo belt. Look at the guy in the background back here. He's holding his face. I mean, I mean, if you look at this, you could just imagine it as a Conan the Barbarian cover, but it's World War II. It just, they're never going to have a comic book like this anymore. No. Too much soy in our diet. 362. $366, man. You see, they're drinking. They're real thirsty. You look and the water's contaminated because there's like corpses rotting in the water. It's really something else, man. A comic doesn't kid around when it's just called War. Or World at War, actually. This cover is just great. It looks like the back glass of a pinball machine or something. It just, the colors are just fantastic. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, when we last left off, I was looking at this. What is that music in the other room? Does not sound like... is that a commercial? Man. Anyway, this looks appealing. Richard Matheson, great writer. Richard Matheson is, of course, the guy behind Kolchak the Night Stalker, right? You know, Trilogy of Terror with the little devil doll, you know, that was Richard Matheson, right? I believe it was, wasn't it? Richard Matheson, great writer. He wrote a book called The Shrinking Man. It was made into a movie called The Incredible Shrinking Man. So, okay, this company's got an adaptation, a comic adaptation. This is a, we'll call it a salute to Al Feldstein. They're, or is it Feldstein? I think it's a Feldstein. I've always called him Feldstein. Anyway, so they're trying to make it look like an EC comic, right? So that's great. You figure it's great. Then, it's always the way, isn't it? You look inside... You won't believe this art, man. Has this guy ever seen a woman before? It's this digital art where they draw it all on a computer screen. And it's like I don't know, all the panels are... Like, what's the deal with this panel? Why do you have the panel extend way over here? What's the point of that? I mean, it's no, it's not all right. Our artist is terrible, but I don't know who did this. Well, anyway, it's an adaptation. Oh, he also did I Am Legend. How could I forget that? And Hell House, yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, who is the artist? I'm not too embarrassed. Mark Torres. It's from IDW Comics. Oh, well, I like the cover, I guess. I don't know. I like the. My advice to you is read the novel by Richard Matheson, which I have. It used to be available back in the days when they had bookstores. There's a new bookstore opening here tomorrow, but it's a bookstore that only sells romance books. It's a female-oriented store. It's called That's What She Read. How about that? Okay, we continue. Oh, I want to show you this. Fantasy Masterpieces is a 60s comic from Marvel. I've always loved this comic because it not only reprints the giant monster stuff from the 50s. Oh, this is issue 2. Oh, this is before they went to giant size. That's Fin Fang Foom. After, I think, this issue, it expanded to a square-bound, giant-sized book. But it would reprint Golden Age Captain America stories and I think Human Torch stories. And I always thought that was great until I saw side-by-side comparisons someone put, I think, on Instagram or Facebook. I think it was on Facebook. And it's like the Red Skull would look all demonic looking, and then they changed the Red Skull's face to look more like he did in the 60s comics. And then there'd be, you know, people being tortured. They'd take that out. There was a lot of changing in the artwork from the Golden Age Captain America books that was reprinted in Fantasy Masterpieces. The 60s was before the political correctness move, but they were trying to be a little more politically correct even then, and so that disappointed me to find that out. Oh, here's the. It doesn't get much better than this, ladies and gentlemen. This Jack Kirby Fin Fang Foom, and then on the other side, the giant monsters. That may be. I can't even tell you how wonderful that is. And if you don't recognize how wonderful that is, but you may not have bought this because it's not a key issue, and I'd just say that's very sad. Yes, I only buy key issues. Okay. Here's Jonah Hex, number 85, an issue I didn't have. Beware the Gray Ghost. It's a death warrant from the Confederate States of America. This looks like a... It's pretty insane. I've never seen that cover. I can't wait to read that one. I always loved Jonah Hex. Here's Tower of Shadows 4. Tales to Blow Your Mind. It's 15 cents, issue 4. Let's guess 1969. As far as a month, I'm going to say September of 69. What do you guys think? That's my guess, and I'm sticking to it. All right, let's take a look. This one's very nice condition too. March 1970. I'm off by a few months. Evil is a bad scene. Oh, look at this. Arnold Schwarzenegger, young Arnold Schwarzenegger. Man, there's nothing like it, man. Look, this is this is drawn by Gene Colan, but it's written by Marvin Wolfman. I always like that name, Marv Wolfman. What a great name. All right, what else do we have here? It's the first issue of First Issue Special. First Issue Special, number 1. It's Atlas. So how are you guys doing today? It's a wonderful Friday, isn't it? This one's in great shape. It looks like Jack Kirby is trying to rebottle the Lightning that was Thor at Marvel. And so why didn't this work? It looks like Thor. So people that minimize Stan Lee, I mean, they. Ooh, there's an ice cream truck. I thought I heard an ice cream truck. Look at that ice cream truck. You see that? Man, that's the first time I've seen an ice cream truck. How about that? Incredible. Cool. Anyway, Stan Lee was part of it, man. People want to say he had nothing to do with it. Okay, so this is a fake Iron Man #1. Some people call them facsimiles. Oh, they're doing Superman the movies, Carnival, Oregon. That's pretty cool. Yes. 1968, Marvel had been throttled. The distributor only allowed Marvel to have a certain number of titles per month. So they had to double up their heroes, like Tales of Suspense had 2 heroes, Captain America and Iron Man, and Journey to Mystery. No, Journey to Mystery had 1, Thor. But there was Strange Tales, which had Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Doctor Strange, and then there was Tales to Astonish with Submariner and Hulk. Yeah, Tales of Suspense was Iron Man and Captain America. They didn't have their own comic, but in 1968, Marvel was allowed to expand. So they gave Iron Man his own book, and Tales of Suspense became Captain America with the next issue. Just kept the numbering. And then some of their heroes got their own title, like Captain Marvel, Silver Surfer. A big Marvel expansion. I know I told you I'm going to stop drinking this stuff. I will. Look, now I got some healthy water. Anyway, so this is a very expensive comic because people think, you know, Iron Man #1, boy, that's valuable. But you key collector chasers, what about the issue of Tales of Suspense that was published a couple of months before? Why don't you want that? One thing about Marvel Comics in the late 60s, they started having bigger panels and less words, kind of like comics of today. See, big panels, and that was I like the more wordy, denser, earlier to mid 60s. See, big panels. So they reprint the ads and everything, which is cool. Except on much slicker paper than they were originally published. And there's Gene Colan's art again. He was, I think, to me, I most remember Gene Colan for Tomb of Dracula. See, here's Captain Marvel and Submariner got their own comics. Same month. Both are pricey books. Graphic Man just did a parody of that Submariner cover where he turned him into a sea monkey. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. I know I have the exact spot on the wall. If he makes that into a poster and sends me one, I know exactly where it's going to go. It's truly, truly one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Prince Namor, I didn't say Prince Namor, it just said the sea monkey, I think. Wow. Marvel really should do that. Okay. I don't think I've ever had this comic. Giant-sized superstars, featuring Fantastic Four. It's the first fabulous issue, I'll have you know. Wow. It says it's new. It's not a reprint. See how it says new? So I guess this is a new... So, look at that, man. Doesn't look too happy. Oh, I always liked this character. She was a Femazon, Thundra. She joined the Fantastic Four when Sue Richards was she had a baby and was raising. This would be a perfect character for, what was that actress, Gina Carano? So it was like, she's a real strong woman character. Oh, look at this. Great ad, great house ad for the daughter of Dracula. Her name was Lilith. See these gold coins, you know, when they crash the economy? These may save your life. Your Spider-Man, Hulk, and Conan gold coins. Look at these reprints of these Marvel pinups. Yes, indeed. Amazing. There's the Mole Man. Wow. Yeah, she was a cool character. I even have a 7-Eleven Slurpee cup with her on it. Just kind of like their version of Wonder Woman. All right. Here's PS Art Books, little soft cover reprints of Psycho. Psycho was a Skywald magazine, and I don't think the original Psychos go for a lot of money. Maybe they do. It was a book I remember. This one is done by Boris Vallejo, and it's very much like another Frankenstein painting he did for Marvel. But it's got great artists. See, Tom Sutton, Ross Andrews, Schickston, Bill Everett. Anyway, they're reprinting the original Psycho magazines. I have a lot of them. Psycho was an attempt to do Warren style, like creepy, eerie Vampirella. It's getting dark out there. I wonder if it's gonna rain. I'm obviously very distracted, easily distracted. Ooh. Oh, that's art by Bill Everett. Look at that. It's beautiful. These must reprint the very first issues of Psycho, which I don't have. I have a lot of them, a lot of issues of Psycho, but I don't have the very first issues. This is when they brought back the Heap. The Heap was the original swamp creature. You know, before Swamp Thing and Man Thing, there was the Heap back in the I think he started in the late 40s, didn't he? Yeah, look at that, man. This is... It's so great. You see that? Kill, kill. I don't know what to tell you, except this makes me so happy, listening to this carnival music playing out, you know, this carnival organ playing ABBA music. Well, I look at this, it's like I'm going back to the 70s in my mind. Psycho. Here's a copy of House of Mystery. Now, House of Mystery was a suspense kind of horror comic. not too much horror, because you couldn't do horror in the 60s. The Comics Code didn't let you until the Comics Code relaxed right around the beginning of the 70s. So House of Mystery, at this time period, it's more just mysterious stuff instead of really monster stuff. And then House of Mystery became like a superhero comic there for a while, and then with the beginning of the 70s, when the Comics Code relaxed, it became a straight attempt to recreate EC comics. But anyway, it's a 12-cent book, so I know it's after December of '61. I can tell it's an early one. I'm guessing. I'm not looking at it. The ad on the back doesn't have a date on it. I would say this is maybe, and I'm going to say it's Kennedy era, maybe December of '63 is what I'm guessing. Let's see if I'm right. There's people riding horses. Oh, you're kidding me. I really did get it, man. Did you see that? It is December of '63. There's guys riding horses outside, man. I wonder if they're Amish guys. I'll show you. You see that? Did you see them out there? I don't know if you can see. That's cool. I never saw people riding horses back in Texas. People, you know, think that in Texas people are riding horses all the time, but it's, you don't see that. Sometimes when I would go to Fort Worth, there'd be a policeman riding a horse, but here there's genuinely guys out there. Do you see them out there? I can't see it in my camera. Oh, there they are. You see that? Oh, Drew doesn't like those horses. You don't see that very often, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing, incredible. Anyway, also, my incredible powers. I'm like Edgar Casey, ladies and gentlemen. December of '63. So, I guess when Kennedy was killed, the comics on the stand would have been January '64 comics. But this is real close to, you know, the date on here is 1 month after Kennedy's assassination. But you can't go by the dates printed, because comics were always on the stands 2 months before the date printed on the comic. So if you really want to know what's going on in the world when that comic was out, you got to do that mental math in your head, and that to me is important. I don't know, it just is. That's the historian in me. I wonder if I can guess on this issue of Showcase, which is key collectors probably wouldn't go after this one because it's not like some major character. To me it is Tommy Tomorrow of the Planeteers. Now it's got a problem there. Actually the tear goes through the next page. But okay, I was gonna guess. I didn't look. I swear I didn't. I'm guessing. I'm gonna guess 62 on this one. I'm gonna guess October of '62. What do you think? September, October 1963. I was off. Okay. Well, it's incredible, ladies and gentlemen, these ads. showcase. That's a comic I don't have, so that'll be fun to read. Yeah, it's got a little bit of damage, but what can I tell you? All right, let's go a little bit closer, quicker. This is 80-page giant number 4, The Flash, because I don't think this is going to go more than another 10 minutes. I had some other 80-page giants. Okay, here's 80-page giant number 10, Superboy. I love crypto. Not the stupid fake money, computer money. I'm talking crypto to me is always going to be Superboy's dog. Okay, so that's 80-page giant number 10. Where did I put the other one, man? Come on, man. That's a mystery. Where did I just put the other 80-page? What was it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, here's 80-page giant number 11. Oh, these kits are just now being reissued. I think Kevin at Gotham City had that one. That's one I'd love to build. Kevin, if you get any more of these Stanley Mouse reissue kits, let me know. I've never actually even seen one in person. I don't know how complicated it would be to build. Oh man, there's the Lincoln assassination. Can't wait to read this. It's the greatest Superman Luthor duels. It's Justice League of America number 40. It says September received. Doesn't give a year. Well, if they received it in September, it should be a November dated comic. And I'm going to say December of '64 on this one. Oh, I'm off November '65. This bag seemed a little snug. It shouldn't be. Okay, Justice League. Here's number 43. I can open these for you later if you want me to. Superboy 112. Superboy 150. Okay. Here's Adventure Comics number 289. It says it's a 4. You know, 4 is what they call it now. They used to call that very good. I still think in the old way. Here's Superman 209. Supergirl number 9. I don't know what they're playing in the other room, but it doesn't sound like carnival music. Oh, please. All right. All right, I'm back. This is Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane. It's issue 13. It's a key issue because it's the first appearance of Lois Lane's parents. I don't know. I guess someone's looking for that. This is an issue of the Inferior 5 that I never had. It's the new Inferior 5, number 8. They would put new on something when it wasn't selling well. They're trying to make it look a little more hip and psychedelic there. It was a DC parody comic, humor comic, and Marvel had not Brandeck. They had that. Okay, this is House of Mystery number 157, when it became Dial H for Hero. Here's Gigantic Strange Adventures. It's Strange Adventures, but I guess it became Gigantic Strange Adventures. There. Yeah, DC tried going up to 25 cents, and then they went back down to 20 cents. So that was the last gasp of the Silver Age, in my opinion. Okay, Metamorpho, the Elephant. I always slip and say the Elephant Man. The Element Man. Well, I always loved this comic. I've always loved the artwork of Ramona Fredon. 2 and 17. I think I already have these, but it's, I guess, good to have another copy, you know. But okay, Blitzkrieg was a comic. This one could use a good, what do they call that? Flattening, ironing, pressing, I guess. It's issue 3. You're not going to see this comic very often. You never see it hardly. I found a few at Duncanville Books in near Dallas. It's Blitzkrieg, searing battle sagas of World War II as seen through enemy eyes. It's a war comic from the enemy point of view. Kind of like that Sam Peckinpah movie, Cross of Iron, right? This is number 4. DC Comics salutes the bicentennial in Blitzkrieg. Yeah, it's hard to believe that's getting to be 50 years old, the the bicentennial, because in 3 years it's going to be the 250th anniversary of birthday of the United States. And here's number 5. It's got a problem there. Here's All Out War number 4. It's a dollar comic. It's an experiment that DC did about 1980 where they tried giving you more pages and charging you $1, and didn't work too well. They went back down in the price and made their comics smaller. There's a great Silver Age. It's Our Army at War, number 190, square-bound 80-page giant. It's a great cover. And you could get a Get Smart car for your Aurora slot car set. You know, in most episodes of Get Smart, you see his car race to a stop and he jumps out, runs up the steps, and then you see all the doors opening and closing, and you know, as he goes into the secret headquarters. Oh, this back cover is kind of halfway detached. I don't know if it's just the first episode or the first couple of episodes of Get Smart. You see him run to his car, get into it, and then rush off, and then he just makes a U-turn and turns around and parks directly across the street in the other direction from where he'd been parked. And then he gets out of his car and then goes through all the doors opening and closing. And it was just so dramatic with that dramatic music for him. It just to race out and just do a park on the other side of the street. Instead of crossing the street, I always thought that was a classic moment. Anyway. So whatever. Whatever, dude. Yeah, buddy. Get Smart. Here's 100 pages for only 60 cents, $2.75 issue of Our Army at War. So this is a few years later. How about that? Oh, look at this stuff at the top. Super spectacular. Our Army at War. Infantry. And they have it. Do they have it throughout the book? Oh, look at this battle album. Yeah. It's weird how... It's kind of weird how they would market war to little boys, but... I mean, little boys ate it up. This is Our Fighting Forces 147. 163. Looks like I'm going to get through all the comics on this episode. 172. Here's Weird War number 95. Weird War, the favorite comic book of the Ramones. They all loved Weird War. I have a old friend who's no longer with us, but he was friends with the Ramones, so I can tell you that with assurance. Look at this Steve Ditko art. In fact, I used to have Johnny Ramone's old color TV in my garage because my friend had kept his old TV that he was getting rid of, and here I need a place to store it. So for a while he was using my garage like a storage unit, and he had storage units all over Dallas. And when he passed away, his brother was trying to find where all the storage units were, because you never know what kind of priceless stuff, because he was a collector far beyond anyone I've ever known, because you know, he had money to buy all that stuff. And yeah. Weird War Tales. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? What time is it, ladies and gentlemen? Please tell me down below, because it might be getting late. Here's Men of War number 23. Remember, I bought Men of War number 1. I didn't know it went that long. I didn't think it got to 23 issues. Oh, here's the Tales of Suspense. I was talking about this earlier, about how Captain America and Iron Man didn't have their own comics until 1968. This is number 88. So look at all these Aurora model kits on the back. I have Batman. I have the Batmobile. I have the Lost in Space. I used to have a Spider-Man. I have the Hulk. I have Superman, Superboy, and Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman and Superboy are original 60s kits. And I've got an original 60s of Batman. The others are reissues. Yeah, this is see, why is it that Iron Man #1 is so, I mean, it's got a cool cover, I have to admit, but this is an earlier issue of Iron Man. It just, he doesn't have his name as the only name on the cover. So it seems to me this book should be just as valuable. It's kind of cut kind of close to the edge, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? What came out the same? So, issue 47 of The Amazing Spider-Man came out that month. We can't wait till you see Jazzy Johnny Romita's version of Kraven the Hunter. And remember the Green Goblin? Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why these aren't more pricey books. Because these are the classic 60s adventures of Captain America and Iron Man. Here's the Conan the Barbarian I don't think I had, number 60. Here's the Frankenstein monster comic I know I didn't have, number 13. Oh, and this was a strictly cover buy. I saw this on the internet when Kevin at Gotham City Comics put out his video of the books that were coming out that week, and I saw this cover and I said, hey, hold that for me. That cover artist is great on this Vampirella cover on this comic book. But let's look inside, and it's like, then you see this pedestrian artwork, someone looking out a window for a whole page. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it always is. It's this horrible computer-drawn art. I mean, look at Vampirella. They have her with pointy ears. When did that become part of? That's a horrible drawing there. It's like this Dynamite company sells these books with the covers, and then they have just this. It looks horrible. Like, what is there, about maybe 20 words on a 2-page spread? Yeah, they've given her pointy ears like she's an elf. That was never in the original Warren books. It looks. If people don't buy it, I mean, I bought it for the cover, and I have to admit, the cover's great. I mean, it would work on an original Warren comic, but that's, yeah. Anyway, here's a, looks like this is from February of 1964, this issue. Walt Disney's Comics and Stories. Okay, they're selling Revolutionary War soldiers on the back of a Donald Duck comic. Yeah, February of 64. Here's how you tell. You see there, it says 402. 4 is 64. 02 is February. So, well, how do you know that 4 is 64 and not 54 or 74? Because it's a 12-cent comic, and during comics were only 12 cents. They weren't 12 cents in 54. They were 10 cents, and in 74 they were 20 cents, or possibly going up to 25 cents by that time. It's got Magica Dispel. It's based on Sophia Loren, and I think maybe a little touch of Vampira or Charles Addams' cartoon character that would later be called Morticia when they made a TV show, The Addams Family. But when Morticia was appearing in the Charles Addams cartoons, and what is it, Saturday Evening Post, she didn't have a name. The name was given to her by Charles Addams when it went to a TV series in '64. It's Dr. Solar, Man of the Atom. And so using that, I can tell this is May of 1965. Now, they have big panels and not many words in this also. You can say, well, why don't you complain about this? Because this is great, and it's the right time period. May of 65, yes. Yes, indeed. And a wonderful smell emanating from this comic, too. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're actually over an hour. I deleted the Facebook app from my phone, and then I'll reinstall it after I record this, and I think that gives me a little bit more time, or I can do a slightly longer show. Here's Archie's Christmas stocking, but the show's going to end at any point, so this is number 500 of Archie Giant Series magazine. I always love the Christmas issues. So if we end early, make sure you say your prayers.